All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Lee Arnold, and welcome to the August CEO Fireside Chat, coming to you live in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. And so what I have done is I've just combed kind of the headlines and put together some talking points that you all need to be aware of. Okay, starting first of all, coming out of Fortune magazine. Fortune says this: something big is about to happen in the housing market. At the start of the COVID recession, the housing market looked like it might be headed for a crash. A crash in the housing market seemed inevitable. However, that bust didn't come to fruition. In fact, the opposite happened. A combination of government support, recession-induced low interest rates, and eager homebuyers set off a housing boom. Since the onset of the crisis, median home prices are up a staggering 24%, but much of that government aid and support is about to go away. The foreclosure moratorium, which prevents foreclosures of federally backed mortgages, will come to an end on July 31st. Then on September 30th, the mortgage forbearance program, which allows some borrowers to pause their payments, will lapse. Since the beginning of the pandemic, over 7 million homeowners have enrolled in the forbearance program. However, as the economy has improved, that number has fallen. As of July 11th of this year, there are still 1.75 million borrowers, or 3.5% of U.S. mortgages, enrolled in the foreclosure forbearance program. If even a small fraction of the 1.75 million homeowners currently protected by the mortgage forbearance program opt to sell instead of going back to repaying their mortgage, it could have a big impact on the historically tight housing market. According to the National Association of Realtors, there are only 1.37 million units. This year, housing inventory hit its lowest level since the data started getting tracked in the 80s. Now, I want to give you guys these two numbers again so you can understand what's happening, all right? On any given year, okay, the MLS, the National Association of Realtors, the multiple listing service, is showing on average 2.5 million properties for sale at any given time. Now, this is nationwide, right? So you can go to the MLS, look nationwide, 2.5 million units. This year, 1.37. So over 1 million units short of a normal real estate market cycle. This is what's driving a lot of the craziness, and this is data going back from the 80s, you guys. So 40 years of data showing that we are in a very interesting time. Now, one thing that they fail to recognize is that if these financially strapped homeowners decide to sell their home into a hot real estate market, that hot real estate market is suddenly going to become a not hot real estate market, as you now have sellers who are desperate and pricing it below the now value. And here's a bigger problem. When they sell, yes, their financial issue goes away, but now they don't have anywhere to live. And nationwide, we are seeing vacancy rates under 2%, which means there's nowhere for them to go. So if I sell my house, where am I going to live, because there are no rental properties available? Now, in my family, I have two family members who work for very large commercial companies. They do residential commercial leasing, and they are currently housed in some pretty large facilities. And I saw them over the weekend, and they told me that right now they have a 20-month waiting list to get into one of their buildings. And it's now gotten to the point where a vacancy in one of their facilities is creating a bidding war, where, just like on the real estate side, you know, if your monthly rent is $2,000 a month, somebody's saying, I'll pay $2,100, I'll pay $2,200, I'll pay $2,500. And now they have $2,000 a month rental units going for $3,200 and $3,500. As we go in now to these moratoriums, as things begin to lift, one of the other departments that has been dramatically affected by the moratoriums has been the Code Enforcement Division. And I realize that it's been a while since we've touched on code enforcement and lien abatement, because a lot of municipalities weren't really enforcing these actions because of the moratoriums. They didn't want to have to evict people out of their homes, even if that home was uninhabitable, even if that home did not meet certain habitability requirements. Normally, code enforcement would call us and say, hey, can you get this taken care of, get this matter resolved? But in the midst of these last 15 months, we've not been getting a lot of these calls, but we're just starting to get them again. So we're starting to see, okay, moratoriums are lifted, municipalities are getting back at it. My disclaimer, the Lee Arnold System Real Estate Investing and its affiliates and employees are not registered investment advisors and as such do not hold themselves out to be. The Lee Arnold System Real Estate Investing does not render financial or investment advice. If you are seeking financial or investment advice, please consult a competent financial or investment advisor. All right. Now, this is George, okay? George came to one of our events somewhat skeptical. He said, Lee, it can't be done. I said, George, it can be done. And he said this, because of our training and blueprint, they learned to take something that's bad and make it look like a castle. Not too hard when your initial investment is only $1. Okay? So George bought this particular property for $1. We gave him $40,000 for renovation. Now, the great thing about George is he did not need us to finance the acquisition because he had $1. But he did need the $40,000 for the rehab, which we provided. He fixed the house up, $40,000 to do the rehab. Okay. Now, here's my question for you guys. How many properties could you buy if they were just $1? Now, admittedly, you guys, I would like to tell you that I'm the smartest man on the planet, but that would be untrue. And a lot of the things that I have learned over the years, I've discovered accidentally. Okay. Now, this is where I started. Okay. We have what's called nuisance abatement and we have lien abatement, okay? Now, you guys can take a photo of this slide. You can do a screen grab of this slide because you're not going to have time to copy the whole thing down. So go ahead and take a snapshot of it, okay? But there are two sides to what I'm going to discuss with you guys this evening, okay? There's what we call the nuisance abatement side, which you would equate to a pre-foreclosure, okay? So this is where, you know, in a pre-foreclosure setting, the lender is sending little nice notes, you know, hey, by the way, you haven't made your payment yet. You might want to send us a check, right? 30 days in, hey, we still haven't received a payment from you. Is everything okay? 60 days in, is everything all right? Is there anything we can do to help you? On day 90, hey, this is getting serious. You better pay us or we're going to have to foreclose. And then you go into the foreclosure side, okay? Now, in this process that I'm talking to you about, we're dealing with nuisance abatement and lien abatement all under what is known as the code enforcement or the lien abatement process, okay? Now, lien abatement is the legal process. This is where the city will literally sue the homeowner for non-compliance of a property's condition. But there's a period before lien abatement where the legal action begins to take hold, where the city is just trying to help, right? So they send out their little code enforcement people in their cute little Ford Edge cars with the city's, you know, code on the side, the city's logo, and they'll come up and they'll write a little, you know, a little yellow notice that says, hey, your property is out of compliance according to the city code, violation 1234, and it's usually for weed abatement. You know, you got too many weeds in the yard, your grass is too high, there's rubbish or other debris in the front yard that you need to clean up, you are parking too many cars on the street or blocking the fire hydrant, right? These are all code enforcement issues. And this is where we begin the nuisance abatement side. So we deal with a distress situation where life circumstances happen. Vacancy, vagrant, zombies, blight, neighbors, notices, get nuisanced. Formal complaints will begin and the municipality will inspect and assess, okay? So step one of this is what we call the distress phase. I want you guys to write that down, okay? The distress phase. So this is the city just trying to help you out. And all of these complaints, you guys, are going to be the result of neighbors calling to complain or going to the city's website and filling out a form, right? There's a nuisance complaint form that most municipalities across the country make available to residences. Now, I've been going to the code enforcement hearings every week in my city for the last 5+ years. If I'm not there, a member of my staff will be there. And what I always find amazing, right? In a city of well over 700,000 people, at these code enforcement hearings, it will be me and some guy that wears a pizza hat. And it's just the two of us. And I don't know why. because this is a scenario where the city has notified the property owner that they are out of compliance. They have sued that homeowner. They're saying, if you do not show up at this hearing, we are going to literally take your house. And so the city is requiring, through public subpoena, to get that homeowner to show up and testify as to the condition of that property. Before you guys head out, tell me, what was your aha moment in tonight's presentation? What was your favorite part? And what can we do to serve you as our clients, our customers, and our families that we serve? Please let us know if we're doing a good job. We love hearing the feedback from you guys. So until next month for our September CEO Fireside Chat, you guys have a great rest of your summer. Happy investing. Be safe. God bless you guys. We'll talk to y'all soon. Goodbye, everybody.